The Grueling Truth's March Madness special. We're going to break down and preview against the spread and straight up the Sweet 16 games that start tomorrow night. And the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. I am your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to bring in my other co-host, 1981 national champion, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Really good. Thanks for the invite to come on. Well, I'm always on anyways. What's the invite? Really excited. This is going to be a fun Sweet 16 starting this weekend here. There's maybe one really, I think, clear-cut favorite, and that's Gonzaga. And the rest of them, man, there's some great matchups right here on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, but when you look at this, I mean, are they really a clear-cut favorite? They struggled with Georgia State in the first round, and then Memphis had them down by 10 or 12 points at halftime, and they struggled to beat Memphis.
And that's a great point. Maybe I shouldn't call them a clear-cut favorite. I just was trying to highlight one team I thought should waltz through this. Not waltz through it, but get through it. But then you start looking at other teams like Purdue and Houston. North Carolina's playing good ball right now. You got St. Peter's, which is an absolute Cinderella story, which could find its way into the Final Four. I mean, you go down this list here. Texas Tech's playing good ball. Kansas is always dangerous. Providence, as you say. You've seen Providence play, Mike. You talk about them being on top of their game. I thought Miami looked good. UCLA probably looked better than North Carolina. It's just I've seen about every UCLA game this year, and they're up and down, but if they can stay up, they're going to be tough to beat.
So all right, we're going to bring in our other co-host, Dan Kornhauser, who's late. But how you doing, Dan?
Hey, guys. Had some technical difficulties. Sorry.
What, did you have to go stock the cooler up more?
No, my wireless connection sucks, so I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, at least you have a wall phone still, it looks like, so that's cool.
Yo.
All right.
Man.
We did the show last week. We did that show last week before the first round was played. Who did the best on the picks? Because I'm sure it was probably a mess.
Oh, I didn't look at mine. I got blistered. I couldn't have been anywhere close to anything.
It was ugly all around, but nothing crazy. I mean, we're doing quick thing. We're doing the elite. Wow.
We're going to do the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 tonight. Yeah, we're gonna have to do the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 tomorrow because people are gonna be watching the games tomorrow, Dan. They're not gonna want to watch us.
So let's just start making these picks and let's do it.
All right, we're gonna start off Thursday night, tomorrow night at 9:00. The first game is Arkansas versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga struggled in their first two games, especially against Memphis, where they were down by 12 at the half, came back and won. Arkansas, I think, is a highly underrated team. And right now, we're going to pick the game straight up. We're going to pick them with the spread. Also, right now, Arkansas is getting 9 points. Dan, what do you think?
Straight up, I'm going to take Gonzaga. And with those 9 points, I'm still going to take Gonzaga. Even though their last game was Gonzaga's been playing close, but they're still the best team in the nation. I don't trust Arkansas.
All right, Steve.
I don't see Gonzaga falling out this year. 9 points, but we're just picking straight up.
Straight up and with the points.
Straight up, I'm taking Gonzaga. If they take that 9-point spread, and it might be a different story, but straight up, I'm going to take Gonzaga in this game.
How about
I think Timmons and those guys are just Timmy and Holmgren. Their guards are delivering some big-time performances here recently. They got some good guys coming in off the bench, Nembhard and Bolton. The Bulldogs just are they're solid everywhere around. They don't make a lot of mistakes. And Timmy is just a beast inside. I mean, he's against Michigan State, opened up with 4 points, and then ended up with 25, 26, 27 in the game.
Yeah, actually, Steve, this is a good one for you since you played against him. I saw an article today that was comparing him to Kevin McHale.
No, that's a good call. That's really a very good call. Yeah, he plays the same kind of basketball. He's dangerous from the 15-foot mark and in. And I mean, I don't know how he'll do in the pros, but for college basketball, that guy's well suited.
All right, I'm going to take the Zags because of this. I think Memphis was a lot better team than Arkansas. I think that Gonzaga matches up much better against Arkansas than what Memphis did. You got Drew Timme, you got the big freshman underneath, the big dude. Right now, the point spread's 9 points. We're going by the point spreads that we've got from Caesar Sportsbook. I recommend you highly to go to Caesar Sportsbook. You can click the link in the description below to do that. But I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I'm going to give the 9 points. So, of course, I'm picking Gonzaga to win also. And I think also the fact that they haven't played that good the last 6 or 7 games, I think they're due to really break out here. And I think the biggest issue for Arkansas does not shoot the ball that well. And defensively, they're good. But with not shooting the ball well, Gonzaga does both. So I think Gonzaga pulls away and wins this game somewhere between 10 and 15 points. All right, next up, we've got the Michigan Wolverines, Steve, against the Villanova Wildcats. Who do you like here?
And man, I'm going to tell you, I think Michigan's run comes to an end. I just think Jay Wright is just too good of a coach. Here's my theory on this. Just start stuff off with a lot of luck in the early rounds. A lot of good, goofy things can happen. Then comes a lot of talents thrown into the mix. And then after that, coaching is thrown in the mix. We're getting into that place here real quick where coaching starts to take over to win these games when mixing it with the talent. These are all damn good basketball clubs, no doubt. But I like Villanova. They play a lot like Gonzaga, just a mistake-free type basketball. Don't make a lot of mistakes. Not a real flashy team. Very well coached. They're not gonna get out coached. And I like, what's the spread on this game?
The spread on this game is 4.5 points on Caesar Sportsbook. I've also seen 5 on FanDuel. So if you had to give the points, what would you do?
I do Villanova both ways.
All right. I agree with you. I think Michigan was lucky to make the tournament at 17 and 14. They went over a month without winning 2 straight games. The other day is the first time they'd completed that mission. And Villanova is a program with Jay Wright that expects to contend every year. They got Gillespie, who's one of the best point guards in college basketball. And I think here, I would give the points because of this. I think this is maybe a 3 or 4 point game when you get to the last minute. Villanova as a team shoots right around 80%. I mean, the other day when they were playing and you had to foul somebody, the guy they chose to foul shot 74%. He was the worst free throw shooter on the team. I think any team with a point guard, defense, coaching, I mean, they can shoot free throws. They can do just about anything at Villanova, and they've been here before. I think Villanova wins this game. I think if you saw the way Michigan celebrated the other day, I think Michigan may just, Steve, be happy to be there.
I think so. Also, this team is about the oldest team in this year's field in terms of having senior contributions, juniors playing a lot. This is not a young freshman-oriented team. These guys have been in this fight before. Villanova is a perennial dancer. And I just think, I don't think it's I agree with you, Mike. It's just, and I'm sure Dan will have an opinion here in just a second. So I'm going to shut up and let Dan talk.
All right, Dan. Villanova versus Michigan. Villanova favored by 4.5 points.
I'm going to take Villanova for all the reasons you guys said and sprinkle a little extra on top there. They're just better on both sides of the ball. That's just a matter of fact. They are 8th and 30th overall after their last games. Coming into the tournament, they were 28th on defense. And at the end of the day,
Dan, do you go ahead? I'm sorry.
I was going to say at the end of the day, we've seen the teams in these close games. If the games are going to be within, defense has been really, the clutch defense is what's really been showing out in these close games in this tournament so far.
Well, I think the thing that stood out to me is when I wrote an article for tomorrow picking all the games against the spread. And, I'm probably over half of the teams, if not, almost 12 to 13 out of 16 teams. Every one of them defensively is very good. And almost every one of them has a really good point guard. To me, those are the two things you need to win in college basketball. Robert Carter says, "Go IU." Go IU, Robert. But all right. Next up, we've got Houston versus Arizona. Houston is getting 2 points, Dan.
I'm going to take Arizona, and I like that this line is so close because it shows that Vegas and the bettors are giving respect to Houston, and I think it's deserved. They're a team that you either loved or you hated coming into the tournament, but regardless of how you feel about them as a unit, they're top 10 in both offensive and defensive adjusted O&D, and that's a recipe for success when it comes March, and been through this whole thing before. So they show they can go make deep runs. The stats line up, the rankings line up, and it's a really, really, really good matchup. But Arizona is still the better team. Outside of Gonzaga, you'd be hard pressed to find a more.
All right. I'll go next. I'm going to take Houston into 2 points. I think Kelvin Sampson is really underrated. I think a lot of that's because of the stuff that happened earlier on in his career. It was a little controversial. The Wildcats have scored at least 81 points in 8 straight games and 12 of their last 13. The Cougars are consistent on offense, 68 points or more in 11 of their previous 12 games. The Cougars, the thing that makes this amazing, Dan, is the fact the Cougars lost 2 of their best players basically before the season even started. I think this is a rough game to pick. I should take Arizona, but I've watched Houston play. Arizona was lucky to get past TCU, but it is the tournament. Sometimes, you play 6 straight games, you're going to have at least one game where you were lucky to get by somebody. I like the Houston Cougars here. I'd take the points, and I would take them straight up. Steve, am I crazy?
I know you're singing my song. I've watched Houston play too, and I tell you what, I like everything about this basketball team. I project them into the championship game if they can get there. If they can get there, they should be in the championship game. They crash the boards and pound the boards as hard as anybody there is in college basketball right now. They play very methodical and effective style on offense, and they have a very suffocating scheme defense. Plus, they're on an 11 out of 12 game swing right now. They've won 11 of their last 12 games. This is their 3rd time into the Sweet 16. They know what they're doing. They've been there. Kelvin knows what to do here. He's another good coach who's done it. I'm with you, Mike. I take Arkansas on the points and just straight up.
All right, next up, Steve, you're up. St. Peter's getting 12.5 points against the Purdue Boilermakers, one of 2 teams left in the Big Ten.
Man, this is a hard game to talk about because St. Peter's, I think, sadly, their run's going to come to an end. But I tell you what, if St. Peter's had a chance to get into the Elite Eight, of all the teams left, the Boilers might be one of the teams I'd want to play in because I think the Boilers are a fragile basketball team. When they're playing good, they're tough to beat, but they're not always playing good. I think they don't have one of the best tournament coaches of the 16 teams left. They tend to fall apart in these tournaments about this point historically. I know they've gotten the Final Four once, in 1980?
1980. Market Square Arena got beat by Kiki Vandeweghe and UCLA 68-63, I believe.
I remember that game. But I just think, Purdue has got too much with Jaden Levy. And they've got skilled big men in Trevin Williams and Zach Edey. I just don't see the Peacocks moving on any farther in this. What's the spread on this game?
12.5. Would you give the 12.5 points in this game?
I would take St. Peter's in the 12.5 if I had to bet the points. But I'm going to take Purdue in a straight-up game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because I think of all the 16 teams left, these may be the 2 weakest teams in the Sweet 16 left.
All right. So, Dan, will they cover the spread? Will they win the game? Will the Peacocks rise again?
I'm going to go Purdue for the win, but I'm with Steve. If we're picking against that spread, 12.5, I'm not a fan. It's not because I don't think Purdue's that much better than St. Peter's. I think they very well could be. Purdue has one of the best in the nation. So I could definitely see this be a runaway, 12.5. It could definitely happen. I'm just not jiving with it. St. Peter's is riding high. The boys are playing tough. Their brand is built on getting key turnovers, playing good defense in key spots, and playing just physical basketball. And they've been. This should be a fun game. I could see it go either way, but I'm not betting it. I'm gonna go Purdue with the win, and I'm gonna take St. Peter's on that 12.5.
All right, I'll take St. Peter's at the 12.5, and I'll tell you this: I'm going to go all in. I'll take those 5-1 odds or whatever they are right now, and I'll take St. Peter's straight up. I think that people think this is a cute story, but Murray State, I think Murray State and Kentucky, I would pick to beat Purdue. And this team just beat them. The thing that stands out to me is I don't think this is just like like I said, a cute story. I mean, they shot 51% from the field against Kentucky. That was playing 45 minutes. They held tough in overtime when you think the game's going to be over because, Kentucky's a blue blood program. They're supposed to whip everybody's ass. They don't have a whole lot of size, but what they do have is a lot of depth. They also have a big man whose name I can't pronounce that averages almost 4 blocks a game. The big 7'4" center from Purdue is soft. You're down to Jaden Ivey. The other thing is this. I can agree with you when you say Purdue's a really good shooting team, but not as of late. I mean, as of late, making 3-point shots in their last 9 games, they've made 32%. That's it. And this team gets a lot of their offense from that. They have struggled at times against teams that aren't that great. And the other thing is this. Purdue turns the ball over way too much. And St. Peter's takes the ball away a lot if you watch that Kentucky game. Now, the other thing is this. Purdue, when shooting below 44% from the field, is 5-5 this year. St. Peter's is one of the best defensive teams in the country. And the stat, when I looked at this, that really got me was St. Peter's hasn't allowed teams to do more than 44% from the field in their last 15 games. So I think this is a game that screams bet me because I think that Purdue is a team that's right to be had. I don't think they've played well over the last month. I think the St. Peter's Peacocks will be in the Elite Eight.
That's not a bad call, Mike. That's not a bad call.
And this is the other thing. This is the other thing. Purdue is the worst defensive team left in this tournament. And we just talked about how important defense is.
Yeah, I said that they're the most fragile team of the big Power 5 teams left by far. And if anybody can beat them, the Peacocks have got the best shot they're going to get into the Elite Eight. It's not bad. You did not make a bad call, Mike.
All right now, if you want to make a good call with it, you go bank this. Come on, Dan, have some balls. Go throw $100 on this. Head over now and see for yourself. Betting.net makes it easy to find all the legal online casinos or sportsbook that are right for you in your state. Make sure you check them out now. Make sure you go to Caesars Sportsbook, which is our recommended sportsbook during the March Madness tournament. Make sure you check them out in the link description and the YouTube video. All right, where are we to now? We got UNC, UCLA. Who goes first here? Who went first last?
You did.
I went first. All right, Dan. The North Carolina Tar Heels right now are getting 2.5 points against UCLA. Who do you like?
Well, although I had Baylor in this game, I did have UCLA coming out regardless. I'm going to stick with UCLA.
All right, Steve?
Well, the one time I saw North Carolina play in this tournament, they looked very good. But from all reports I've heard that they've been off and on all season. They've got a first-year coach. It's not like having, Roy Williams or Dean Smith sitting on the bench coaching you through one of these games. So, and UCLA, I know, Mike, you're not a fan of his, but Cronin's
I like
he's done a heck of a job at UCLA, and they've got an Indiana boy on the bench. who didn't get fired today. So, you know, I don't care what the spread is on this. It seems close. I'm going with UCLA on both ends. UCLA, I've watched them play a lot this year. What this team has done has gotten better and better and better all season long. When I watched them at the beginning of the year, I thought, ew, God, bring Alford back. But they have just dialed it in all year long. So I definitely like what Mick's done with his basketball club. I like the way this team's playing right now. And that's another team I think can make the Final Four.
All right, I think this. I think UCLA wins this game. This is my lock of the Sweet 16. North Carolina's had an amazing run. When they're on, they're really good. But to me, they're like the Cam Newton of college basketball. They're front runners. If everything's going good, they're going to light your ass up. But the thing you noticed is Baylor in the final 10 minutes of regulation of that wild 93-86 overtime win, you know, they turned the ball over 18 times. You know, they couldn't come up with big defensive stops until overtime, which they did. I'll give them credit for that. But everything just kind of fell apart all at once for this team. And remember, Virginia Tech was without some guys. Or not, Baylor was without some guys. The other thing I think that strikes me here is this point spread is right to be had because this is recency bias. All right? North Carolina's a blue blood that all of a sudden is beating the hell out of everybody. Nobody remembers that, 2-3 weeks ago, they were on the bubble. So it's not like this team has been great all year. UCLA has been a great team all year. They play in the Pac-12, which means they're playing teams like, Arizona, which is a damn good team, USC, which was a damn good team. And the other thing is this. North Carolina is 0-6 when teams hit more than 50% of their shots. UCLA this year, in a third of their games, made more than 50% of their shots. They hit 57% against St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's would have beat North Carolina. UCLA wins this game, and I think they win this game by double digits, Steve.
I don't disagree. And I got a question for you, Mike.
Is you me? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, why do you always repeat everything I say, but do it with such dadgum elegance and grace?
Because I'm smarter than you?
I guess that's it. Because you just said everything that I said, only it sounded so much better coming out of your mouth than mine.
Well, plus I'm a lot more handsome.
I give you that one, definitely.
But you are better looking than Dan.
Wait a minute.
Because let's face it, Dan's kind of a...
I can't even take credit for that. Dan's a good-looking guy.
Dan's kind of a douche.
I think Dan gets every Jersey Shore girl he wants.
I think if he did, he probably wouldn't be on this show right now.
He gets every snooky he wants.
Is that what they call it in Jersey? They call it getting some snooky?
No, Snooky's the famous girl from Jersey Shore.
I have no clue.
I'll bet Dan's tried to hit on her at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
I would. Dan in bars.
Why not? She's rich. That gets done.
Why not? She's filthy rich. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, hell. Then you could get some decent Wi-Fi so you could be on time for the show, Dan.
That's what I'm saying.
What I was going to – she's about 4'8", but I was going to say, Mike, don't have Dan bet $100 on the game. Have you put the $100 on his Wi-Fi and get it upgraded.
That'd be nice. Who's your Wi-Fi carrier, Dan?
Fios, I think.
Well, that's fiber optic, right?
It's supposed to be.
But it's not. All right, next up, the Midwest region on Friday night. Providence versus Kansas. Who's up first here, Steve?
Okay. Providence versus Kansas. I have not seen Providence play much basketball, just a little bit snippets in the tournament. I've seen more of Kansas. Kansas looks like another one of the Gonzaga teams. It just keeps plugging along, does solid things. Abagaji is their superstar player. He's playing good ball. They've got Braun and Wilson. They've got a good core with Martin and McCormick. This is a team I think is very capable of reaching the Final Four. They got a good team, but a lot of Providence, and Mike, I'm going on a lot of what you said about it, and I'll be interested to hear your take, is that Providence is a bitch to play right now, and they're playing some of their best basketball right now. But what's the spread on this game?
The spread on this game is 8 points, Steve.
I would probably take Kansas straight up, Providence with the spread.
All right, Dan, Kansas Providence, 8-point favorite.
I'm going to go with Providence. I'm sorry. Wow. I almost. I'm going to go with Kansas in this one.
What about the points?
I'm going to take Kansas on the points as well. They've been Providence was very up and down this year, wishy-washy.
They were?
Kansas
Really?
on the other
They
hand.
Damn.
I mean, in terms of stats and rankings, they're not highly ranked compared to some of these other teams remaining. I mean, just for comparison's sake, as of now, these guys are ranked 40. They're ranked 58th on KenPom.com, whereas some of these other top teams,
where do they rank on points allowed?
My computer's slow to load, so I can't answer that right now. But the KenPom has them at 58. And for comparison's sake, I mean, some of these, even if you want to just look at other teams we've just been talking about, Gonzaga, Houston, Zona, Kansas. Kansas is 26 by comparison's sake. And that's even lower than a lot of these other teams who are left. The defense is real. But down. I don't know. One week, these Providence looks like they could be the best team in the nation. The next week, just not quite right. And Kansas is the better team. And I want to see Remy Martin do some more magic.
All right. I'm going to take Providence in the points for sure. I think Providence wins the game. I think Ed Cooley is the better coach. I think the guy doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think they have. I mean, this team wins games on senior leadership. It seemed like almost every game they played was a single-digit game, and they thrive under that pressure. The stat that stood out to me is this. Defensively, they were much better on the road than they were at home, Dan. They've allowed less than 68 points in their last 6 out of 7 games. They look like crap in a Big East tournament against Creighton. But I also think this. How many conference tournament champions are left in the Sweet 16?
Providence won the regular season.
Yeah, but they lost in the tournament thing.
But they won the regular season, which I still say is a more true measure of the league conference championship.
But I mean, if you look at this, North Carolina did not win their conference tournament. St. Pete did. Purdue didn't. Did UCLA?
No. Arizona did.
Arkansas did not win their conference tournament. Gonzaga did. Duke did not win their conference tournament. Texas Tech, I don't think, won their conference tournament. Michigan didn't win their conference tournament. Did Villanova win the conference tournament? I can't remember. I think they played Creighton, but Houston won their conference tournament. Arizona won it. Providence did not. Iowa State did not. Miami did not. So what you get here is 2/3, almost 3/4 of these teams in the Sweet 16 did not win their conference tournament. Winning a conference tournament, unless you need it to get in to make the tournament, is not a good thing to win. I mean, seriously, if I'm playing in a conference tournament and I know I'm going to be between a 1 and a 6 seed, I want to lose the game, Steve, because playing on Saturday, Sunday in a huge game with big pressure is not conducive to then turn it around and playing 4 days later.
I don't want to get into that argument with you right now because I don't ever want to lose a game, so I don't have to play again tomorrow.
Never said, hey, all I know is this.
I know what you're saying, Mike. I know what you're saying. What I just think is, I don't think that winning your conference championship is necessarily a marker that makes you a better team or a highly more respected team in the dance.
No, it means
you would never convince me or any of my teammates if Bob Knight told us to lay down in the Big Ten tournament.
I guarantee if Bob Knight told you guys to lay down, you'd have done it.
Mike,
out of fear.
I don't think that would have happened. I think there would have been a very heart-to-heart discussion in the locker room.
Hey, wait a second. You remember when
players and Bob Knight.
You remember how much Knight hated the conference tournament idea for the Big Ten. And
yeah,
and those teams did not play like they were trying to win in the first and second round when Knight was there.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But yeah, I just think it. Yeah, I don't. I really don't want to argue this point because it's an
be quiet.
opinionated point.
I'm just kidding, Steve. But
Okay.
I'm going to take Providence in the points. I think the
I
game's a
see what you're
toss-up.
saying. The rest becomes more important than
Yeah.
winning a tournament that does not seem to have any bearing on how you do in the tournament. I get that entirely, but still, to tell me that I had to lay down.
I never said to lay down. I just said this.
Or
I think a lot of times teams that are the best team in the conference don't win the conference tournament because they don't need to. The other team maybe has to win to improve seeding or get in the tournament, where the team that has already won the conference tournament, especially in like the Big 10 or the Big 12 or the ACC, those teams, it's not as important as the teams that they're playing against. Put it like this, when Indiana played Illinois, that game was a lot more important in Indiana than it was.
It was more important than any of us thought until after the game was over.
Yeah.
We didn't realize Indiana doesn't win. They don't play.
But
we all thought Indiana was already in, and we were just going to get out of playing a bubble game. That didn't happen. So
all right. Next up, the last one on Friday night, Iowa State versus Miami. Iowa State is getting 2.5 points, Steve.
Thing about Iowa State is, this is a very young fledgling basketball team. Their leading scorer, I think, is a freshman. Their best player. This is a team that last year was 2-22, and now all of a sudden they find themselves playing for a spot.
Yeah, they're 2 wins from the Final Four.
Yeah, they're 2 wins from the Final Four, and they were 2-22 last year. So I just don't think the Iowa State Cyclones are ready for this yet. I just think they lack the experience to play in this. They're basing their hopes on a lot of young talent because I'm sure they cleaned house and they brought a lot of young players in, playing their freshmen a lot. Some of their important wins. They beat Wisconsin. They picked up a player from Minnesota, Tyrese Hunter. He's their big-time talent. So I just don't think that they're ready. What's the spread on this game?
The spread is anywhere from 1 to 2.5. I mean,
so favoring Hurricanes?
Yeah, so we'll just call it Hurricanes by 2 to be safe.
And Miami's a surprise in its own right. I think they're coming out of but they beat some pretty good teams. And
yes, they
last
did.
weekend, they beat USC and Auburn back-to-back. I watched them play, and I think I called you, Mike, and said, man, watch out for Miami. This team's a bitch. They've got some athleticism on this basketball club. They get up and down the floor. They're not afraid to be physical. And I just think they're going to outgun, and overpower Iowa State in this game. So I'm going to go with Miami both ways, with the spread and a heads up without its points.
Yeah, I'm going to go Miami also because, to me, Miami is going to blow them out. Iowa State got to the regional semifinals because basically they played a way overseeded Wisconsin team who was not that good to begin with. The entire Big Ten was not that great, and I think we see that by 9 getting in and 2 being left, and one of them a 17 and 14 team. I think Miami wins this game, and I think they win it by double digits, Dan.
I'm gonna go.
I just don't see Iowa State being able to score enough points. I mean, Miami is going to put points up, and if you look at the teams Miami's beaten this season, I mean, they're a team that will show up for a game and not show up for a game, if you know what I mean. But damn, I mean, people had Auburn winning a national championship. I mean, Auburn was the number 1 team in the country about 6-7 weeks ago.
That's right. Now, your big wins. They've beaten Duke. They blew out North Carolina in one of their games. They beat Tech. So they've had some big wins this season. And you are right about their offense. Their offense will score at will. Their 3-guard offense that they run has been working, and Wong was a real solid piece. But I'm going to go with Iowa State because Iowa State has everything you look for in a team to make a deep run when you look at who's left, because they have elite defense. They are one of the better 3-point 3-point percentage teams in terms of 3-point percentage that's left, and their turnover percentage is also elite. Yes, they have questions on their offense. These two teams are polar opposites. Miami's offense is right. Their defense is not quite. Iowa State's offense is awful. Their defense is elite. So it'll be interesting to see how these two teams, like how it all works. But one thing is for sure.
You do realize that you just are picking a team where you said their offense is awful, but you didn't say Miami's defense.
I wasn't going to say anything about that,
You
Mike.
said it was just not right. So I'll take elite and not right over elite and awful.
I want to bet this game for Mike Dan's $100. The hell with his internet.
I think it's going to be a close one, and I'm going to take Iowa State, but they need Isaiah Brockington to do more than he did last game. I think he was like 5 of 15 or something like that. Can't fly. He's their best scorer. He averaged over 7. They need him to be right if they're going to win. But I'm going to take Iowa State.
All right, real quick, I want to bring up the Grilling Truth is, what's that word? Powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your top sportsbook comparison site. Betting.net offers extensive reviews on the best sportsbook out there. Also, make sure you click on the link in the description in the video to go check out Caesar's Sportsbook, which is our recommended sportsbook for March Madness. Now, guys, we're going to give our final 4 predictions, which means we're going to go through everybody's Elite 8. So we've got Dan, you've got Iowa State against.
Dude, why don't we save that for next week?
Because because it'll be over by then, Dan or Steve.
Did we
they
do
play
Texas
Saturday,
Tech
Sunday.
and Duke?
Oh no, we didn't, did we? I missed Texas Tech and Duke. All right, Duke and Texas Tech. Since you brought it up, Dan. Dan, Duke and Texas Tech. Duke's getting 1.5 points. What do you think?
Now, I want to pick Texas Tech because they have one of the best, if not left, in the field. They're up there.
Dan, quit looking like a woman who's waiting to see if she is having a baby or if she's not. Because you're sitting there.
It's tough. I'm so into their game. Like I've been looking at it and stewing on it for a while. And it's like, damn it, I like both.
I'm the same way, by the way.
Normally
I would just pick Texas Tech because I think they're better, but Duke's got better players. You got Coach Katie's last game, which means he'll probably get some officiating help in the last couple minutes.
I'm going to go with the storybook. I'm going to go with Duke. Let's see Coach Katie.
Yeah, because he's never been there before. Steve, what do you think?
What's the spread?
1 to 1.5 points right now in favor of Texas Tech, which means if you take Duke, you get 1.5 points. Which doesn't sound much, but if it ends up 68-67, you'll be happy with 1.5 points.
I watched Texas Tech play. They're a physical ball club, and it's a balanced team. They really don't have one player I think you would call a superstar on this team. The transition from Chris Beard to Mark Adams was as smooth as any. The team didn't seem to miss a beat. They beat up on a lot of teams in the conference this year. But this is a tough game to pick. But I think the basketball guys are going to be good to Mike Krzyzewski one more year. And Duke is not a bad basketball team, and they are well coached. So I'm going to take Duke in both ways.
I'm going to take Texas Tech. I was picking Duke up till last night. And then, actually, Steve, after you told me you were picking Duke, then I went and looked at it deeper, and I went to Texas Tech. So what the hell?
No,
this is the thing. Texas Tech
that's the logical pick.
Texas Tech is the number 1 defense in the country in points allowed on a per-possession basis. Away from home, they're number 1. Now, Duke has surrendered at least, I think the stat was 76 points in 5 of their last 6 games. I think defense will be the deciding factor here, but there's one other thing that I think will be a deciding factor, and that's this. Tech doesn't have a great offense. They're not highly efficient, but what they are good at is crashing the offensive glass. And I think the Red Raiders are a much better team than Michigan State. And I still find it hard to believe Michigan State was in the game because Duke has a lot more talent. But I'm going to take Texas Tech. I'll give the point and a half. And I think Texas Tech's going to win this game. So now, Steve, we're going to do our Elite Eight picks since we're not doing a show Saturday or Sunday. And we will start off with Iowa State versus Kansas, which is Dan's game. What do you think, Dan?
Well, let me get my bracket back out here. All right, so I mean, unfortunately, my bracket was already is fucking out. But in this one, Kansas, Iowa State.
Who'd you have, Dan? Who'd you have?
I had Iowa. I don't know why. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I don't know what I was thinking.
Hey, that's recency bias once again. They got hot in the Big Ten tournament.
It is.
All right, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, they won the
lesson
Big
learned.
Ten tournament, so they ran out of gas. All right, so you're going with Kansas?
Kansas it is.
All right. You've got Villanova against Arizona in the South region, correct?
I got Arizona and Villanova in this.
Who do you like here?
Yes, sir. I'm going Arizona.
Okay. West region, you will have, who'd you pick, Duke?
Duke and Gonzaga. I'm going with the Zags. And finally, UCLA, Purdue. I'm going to go UCLA.
Let's go. Okay. Steve,
Bruins.
We'll start off in the East with you. You had UCLA, I believe, against Purdue. Which
Bruins.
is a rematch of that Final Four game.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
at Market Square Arena in 1980.
No, wait. Did Louisville? Yeah, Louisville beat Iowa, and then UCLA beat Purdue. All right, go ahead.
But I thought Louisville won the championship in 1980.
They did. They beat UCLA.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Darryl Griffith. But also you got to remember, Iowa's best player was Ronnie Lester, and he was playing hurt. He had like a pulled hamstring and had him taped up. He could barely run.
Yeah. Great player, though.
Yes, he was. Played for the Lakers, too.
And the Bulls, son, too, didn't he?
Yeah, but nobody cared about them back then.
Okay. All right. We don't need to go over all the teams and all the details.
No, just Purdue or UCLA. You can give a
UCLA.
reason if you want.
UCLA.
You take UCLA. All right, then Steve's got Gonzaga against Duke.
I'll go with Gonzaga.
Okay, then you've got Villanova, Houston, right?
Toughest call to make for the whole Final Four. I'm going with Houston.
Okay, and then you've got. Did you pick Providence or Kansas?
Kansas, Miami.
He's got Kansas, Miami. All right, Kansas, Miami, Steve.
Kansas.
Okay, so we go to mine, and we've got Purdue or St. Peter's versus UCLA. Mm-hmm. This is where St. Peter's goes to the Final Four, guys. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding. UCLA will go to the Final Four because I thought UCLA would win it all when it started. Actually, I think I had like UCLA against Tennessee in the championship game, which would have been a great football game too. But I'm going to take UCLA to go to the Final Four there. And then I had Gonzaga, Texas Tech. I'm going to go with Texas Tech because I think Texas Tech may match up better with Gonzaga than anybody else in this tournament. That defense, they can turn up the heat there. You got the Chet Holmgren kid's only a freshman, but Texas Tech crashes the boards hard. I like Tech in the upset, which gives me Tech against UCLA in the Final Four, which UCLA wins, by the way. I'll go ahead and give everybody what happens. Yeah. I'm kind of like a soothsayer or whatever you call it. Next up, we've got Villanova versus Houston. I'm going to go with Villanova. And then I've got Providence, Miami. I'm going with Miami in the Final Four. I'm going with Houston to beat Miami. And Houston to play UCLA in a national championship game.
Wait.
And I'm going to take the UCLA Bruins.
Didn't you just pick Nova to beat Houston?
Oh, did I?
Hold on. Didn't you say
I thought
Nova
that sounded weird when I said it. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Villanova would beat Houston. Villanova will beat Miami. UCLA will play Villanova in a national championship game. The UCLA Bruins win the national championship.
All right, so Steve, give us you guys versus UCLA and Houston versus Kansas. Who's going to be in the chip, Steve?
I'm going to tell you what.
I see the wheels
Man
turning.
alive.
He's thinking way too much. This is like a Joe Biden press conference now. I'm
going to tell you what. For some silly reason, I unbeknownst to me, I like UCLA to win it all.
Oh, see, he just said what I said, but he didn't say it near as smart, did he, Dan?
No, I just think UCLA is. I just think that it's. Yeah, I think they're going to pull it off.
This is a team, if you remember, had Gonzaga beat last year, and they lost in overtime on a half-court shot.
Yeah.
I mean, UCLA was that close last year. A lot of that team's back. Mick Cronin's team. I'm not a huge Mick Cronin fan when he was in Cincinnati. I am a huge fan of UCLA. I think the issue there was, I think it was Bone, who was the AD at Cincinnati. Guy was an asshole. So I think he destroyed that program, which is how you ended up with Coach Brandon after that. Then you had to replace him after that. So go ahead, Steve. Who do you got coming to play UCLA in a championship game?
Oh, I thought that was a championship game.
No, you got Kansas and Houston on the other side for Steve, right?
I got Houston. I got UCLA and Houston in the championship game.
Oh, you know what that's a rematch of, don't you, Dan?
No.
1968, Elgin Baylor gets
no, not Elgin Baylor. You blew it. Elvin Hayes.
Elvin Hayes.
Damn it. But you almost had it. But the interesting thing there.
At the Superdome or the Astrodome.
Astrodome in front of the largest crowd ever watching college basketball
80,000 people watching a basketball game.
And it was nationally televised on a Saturday night. It was like, the main thing about that is it happened right around the time I was born. But the other interesting thing is this. They definitely pissed UCLA off because UCLA had like a 50 or 60 game winning streak, I think. And in the Final Four, Houston played UCLA, and UCLA beat them. You'd have to look it up, but I think it was something like 103-68.
They
pissed off UCLA.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
You know what the halftime was of that game?
Of the championship game or of the game they played?
No, of the game they played in Astrodome.
What was that?
It was Bobby Riggs versus Billie Jean King.
No, it wasn't. Bobby Riggs and Billie Jean King was in 1973. And it was fixed.
At the Astrodome.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it was fixed. What's wrong, Dan?
I mean, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not to us.
I wasn't even a thought yet.
Yeah, you're still not, Dan.
Yeah, what you have to realize is I was old enough to go over, turn the TV on, turn the channels, get the rabbit ear set, and sit back and get a regular Coke. They didn't make Diet Coke back then. And watch the entire game and absorb it. I watched Neil Armstrong land on the moon. I mean, I saw it happen live.
I might have saw it, but I was only like a year old. So
but I remember it. I mean,
they did that in a place in Hollywood.
Yeah, at a soundstage.
Why wouldn't we go back again?
To prove that it wasn't fake, but they just faked them all.
No, I mean, just so we could have someplace else to live after we destroy this planet.
Yeah, we're on our way doing that.
I'll hang out on the moon. Let's do it.
Hell yeah! You can just float around.
I think how far I could hit a golf ball.
Why not? Oh, yeah. I'll set my own personal drive record. That'd be perfect.
Do you play golf, Dan?
No. I swing a golf club at a golf ball, entertainment purposes.
He goes to.
I don't think what I do on the golf course can
constitute
as playing. It's awful. I suck, but it's a lot of fun.
You look like an athlete, so.
Yeah,
you ever play putt-putt?
Golf is not an athletic sport. That's why old fat guys are good at it.
Oh, screw off!
Ooh, you hit a nerve with Steve on the old fat guy comment.
I'd like to see you play 4 days in a row walking it up and down the hills.
NASCAR is a real sport. NASCAR is not a sport. Golf is a game for old guys.
You couldn't walk 18 holes and play golf.
I
got your own bag.
Yeah, and I'm going to forward you all the compliments, Mike.
And it's all.
I'm going to forward you all the compliments Mike was sending us today on our.
Yeah, the NASCAR show was awesome.
Awesome. He said better than any goddamn.
Hey, I never said that because I don't use the Lord's name in vain, Steve.
Okay, any other dadgum draft pick show that Teets and Kornhauser were doing. And what's Teets saying? Should we do another one? It's because nobody was listening to your other shows. Mike told me we got twice the listenership you got already. And we just started 3 weeks ago.
I never told you that.
Steve stirring the pot.
I don't even remember talking about it. But
you got to put some happy juice in Teets.
I
Pizza
just
starts
am
in Thursday
amazed.
out there.
I'm amazed that Dan shows up to do the show even.
Yo, me showing up is half the battle, man.
It's really not. 3/4 is getting you to be coherent.
So hold on. So wait. So we got sidetracked. Hold on. So you guys got your finals. So all right. So Mike, your final four: Texas Tech, UCLA, Nova, and Miami. Mike's got UCLA versus Nova and UCLA winning. Steve, you got Zaga, UCLA, Houston, and Kansas. You got UCLA, Houston. You got UCLA winning. I've got Zaga, UCLA, Zona, and Kansas. I'm going to have Gonzaga versus Arizona. I'm going to go with Zaga for the win. And I'm going to have Zaga winning 78-73.
Good for you. Now drink your beer.
Woo!
Stupid queer. All right.
What was that all about?
What? What did he do?
We
Bells?
don't need to get LBGTQ.
That's
on
not.
this show.
That's not what that means. You didn't hear what I said, did you?
I heard what you
could
said.
Listen to it again. It rhymed with it, so I did it. Hey, this is the question. When are we doing an NFL show again? Because there's some stuff that keeps happening every day, it seems.
Whenever you stop being pissed at Dan for being 10 minutes late, 2 minutes late.
A lot of
he was only 2 minutes late.
How was I pissed at Dan? I thought we were supposed to do the show last night, is what Dan said, but he didn't show up last night either.
I didn't even get it.
I didn't. Did you see a Shoot the J show last night, Steve?
Yeah.
No, you didn't, because he didn't do one. So it was a bullshit excuse to get out of doing the NFL show.
No.
And we can't do it tomorrow night because the tournament's on.
Tourney.
What? Hey, also right now I'd like to bring up that next Tuesday, I believe it is, I will have an NFL Legends show with former Pittsburgh Steeler, All-Pro linebacker Levon Kirkland. He will be on with me. He's been on the show a few times before. Steve probably doesn't even remember. Steve's been on with Levon Kirkland before.
Yep,
it was like 6 years ago. All right.
Yep.
I just met. Yep.
We're going to get Rocky Blyer back? I want to talk to Rocky again.
You want to get Rocky back again?
Oh, God, I loved Rocky Blyer. What an honor to talk to Rocky Blyer.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's probably the best time I ever spent on the radio.
My favorite was an athlete we interviewed was Sam Weish. I like Sam Weish a lot.
Yeah.
But Dan's never heard of either one of them.
And then who was the old linebacker from Houston?
Robert Brazil.
Oh, he was great, too.
Yeah, I'm going to do a Legends show with him the week after that, probably.
I got to get back on that one with you.
No, you can't. So
why? He hated
because
me.
it's an NFL Legends show. It's just
I was on the first one.
No, that was Survive in Advance. The first one I did with Robert was like 2 years before you came on, even.
Okay.
But this is the thing: we can get him on Survive in Advance, and you can talk to him, and then we can.
Dan didn't even know who the hell we're talking about.
No. Have you ever heard of Levon Kirkland, Dan? Really?
Oh, come on. Levon Kirkland was definitely in my time. I think I was in high school when he was playing.
It would have been in the 90s. He was starting in Super Bowl 30 when they held Emmitt Smith to 56 yards rushing on 17 carries. Have you heard of anybody else have you ever heard of Rocky Blyer?
No, that I
No.
Sam Weish sounds familiar.
Oh my God!
You gotta be kidding. Why are you on it?
Yo, hold on. Levon Kirkland was playing until 2002, so he was definitely in the NFL when I was in high school.
Rocky Blyer is one of the 20 most famous running backs in the NFL.
Probably not, but
he's up there.
Famous-wise, he might be top 20. I mean, they made a movie about Rocky Blyer, you idiot. Rocky Blyer, here's the story.
Rocky
Blyer played at Notre Dame.
Shot up in Vietnam?
Shut the fuck up, Steve.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I was going to explain this to Dan so
go
he could understand.
Go ahead.
So I'm
hey, everybody, we're done with the NCAA picks. We made our picks.
We're just bullshit now. This is like Bill Myers After Hours or whatever on HBO.
Yeah.
So this is the thing, Dan. Rocky Blyer was was a great running back at Notre Dame. Terry Hanratty was the quarterback. They won a national championship in '66. He gets drafted by the Steelers. I think he was with them for 1 year maybe as a practice squad player. And then the Vietnam War, he got drafted and had to go over. And in a rice paddy, he got his foot messed up because he stepped on a landmine. All right? Nobody thought he would even walk right again. So he trained for like 3 years, got the Steelers to give him a shot, played as a special teams guy, still had a little bit of a limp. And by the time you get to 6 years after He had the Vietnam incident. The dude was a great running back.
Played alongside Franco Harris.
Hey, and they both ran for 1,000 yards, I think, in the
Yep.
same backfield in 1978. I mean, Rocky Blyer was a great player, and he overcame that war injury where he could barely walk. And you
Dude,
don't
that's
know who he
awesome.
is, so you're not even American.
I got to be on that interview and talk with him live. I mean, what an honor. I mean, you can't say it any other way. That's the fun part of doing these shows.
Well, if Dan
like
knew who he
allowed me to
was,
do.
if Dan knew who he was,
Oh,
we would
Dan
have
would
had
be
Rocky
great.
on.
Because, Dan can research him real quick and ask
I
really
don't know.
intelligent
I just don't know if
questions.
he deserves to talk to him just because he doesn't know who he is.
Oh, I think he does. But, me, I got neuropathy in my feet, so I can't feel my feet. So I said, when you got your foot blown off, did it hurt? Because if I blow mine off, it won't hurt. That's the question I have. Mike blocked me from that point on.
I don't think you asked that question.
The
thing that's amazing is the amount of Pittsburgh Steelers I get along with that'll come on the show since I'm a Bengals fan, and all I do is talk crap about them.
I'll say since you're a Bengals fan.
And if you listen to the shows, I mean, I always tell them I'm a Bengals fan, and then we talk crap, and then we're fine. So it doesn't matter now because the Bengals will rule the world. So
that's right.
And the
Joe Burrow championship 2022/3.
Hey, who did they say? Yep. Dan, who did they just say now is the new favorite to win the AFC East? It wasn't Cincinnati anymore.
Well, it shouldn't be because we're not in the AFC East.
AFC North.
East, I'm sorry.
The AFC North, the favorite Cincinnati. I don't care.
Cincinnati.
Cleveland was
who
favored.
They said somebody else.
It doesn't matter. They said Cleveland, but it doesn't matter.
They said Cleveland because they got what's his name?
Deshaun Watson. Who I think if he is where he was when he left, he's a top 5 quarterback. But I'll take Joe Burrow. They got Nick Chubb. I got Joe Mixon. That's not that big a deal. Both have very good offensive lines now. The Bengals have a lot more weapons at wide receiver, and I think the Bengals are just as good as they are at defense. And we're not Cleveland.
The great thing for me.
It's close.
I don't have to go buy a New Jersey. Matt Ryan wears number 2.
But you have the issue of the Wentz on the back of the jersey.
I got a blue Sharpie. He just colored it out.
There you go, Steve. Modern problems require modern solutions.
Hey, let's do that on the NFL show. Let's do the NFL show next Monday night. That cool?
After the draft?
I don't give a shit about the draft show. That just pisses me off now. You've never done the draft show on a Monday night before either. What's
every Monday?
You guys don't know anything. Sam knows something.
That is the most boring. You guys got to inject some. Have me on that show next Monday or next time you do it. Teets hates me, but the hell with Teets.
Teets doesn't hate you, Steve.
Oh, he
just
does.
Thinks you're a douchebag. Like
I know, that's what
everybody
I
else
mean.
except me.
You do too.
No, I don't.
No, I love you.
I think you're a douchebag, but I don't hate you.
You're loyal. You're loyal like me, but you still think I'm a douchebag.
Well, yeah,
you're a douchebag, and I still love you.
You don't think I'm a douchebag?
I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. Just admit it. You don't think I'm a douchebag.
Oh no! He's gone.
No. See?
Now, once again, am I a douchebag, Steve?
No, you're a wonderful guy, Mike.
There you go. Dan, am I a douchebag?
America's sweet.
I don't know. Whatever he was going to say was going to be bullshit anyway.
No, he said America loves you. He's going to say America loves you.
Oh, hell. They say that about America. Hey, did you know American Idol's still on?
Yeah, but I don't watch it anymore.
I didn't know that. I hadn't watched that in like 15 years, I don't think. And the other night we were switching channels and American Idol was on, but Simon was gone, so nobody was being mean to anybody, so I got bored.
Hey, here's some good news. For all you lovers of Yellowstone and those that you saw 1883, Mike, they ordered 6 more episodes of 1883.
Really? When will that be out?
Probably around November, they said. No, around November. They're going to probably carry on to the original Dutton family obtaining the land and taking the land over. Now, you want a little tidbit, Mike?
Sure, Steve.
All right. Living out here in Hollywood, I found this out. All right. You know why John Dutton is so against splitting up his ranch and fighting everybody to try and get a piece of his ranch?
I don't know, Steve. Why?
because if you listen to him when the chief of the land said, you can have this land for 7 generations.
And then we get it back.
So he's protecting that land. And the way T and I figured, they're about in the 4th or 5th generation of Duttons right now. So that's what he's doing. He's protecting that land for the Duttons, for the Indians, because they're going to get it back.
I really highly doubt that, Steve. White people
they
don't call people white givers. They call them Indian givers. So
no. Dutton's a man of his word, just like you.
Whatever.
When you say you're going to bleep me off the show, you bleep me off the show. When you say you're pissed at Dan and you're gonna text him and berate him a little bit for being 2 minutes late.
I never said that. You were on the phone with him. I couldn't say that to you. That was pretty cool how I knew you guys were talking to each other, though. And
I was just telling him to just tell Goodpaster to fuck off.
No.
Shouldn't say that.
As long as you don't say the Lord's name in vain, I'm good with anything you say.
I agree, dadgummit. But I was telling Dan just don't listen to him.
So I guess we'll do the NFL show next Tuesday night. Is that all right, Dan?
They do the draft show on Tuesday.
No,
that's what I thought.
Monday. Let's do it live on Monday.
All right, but you're not going to be able to do your draft show.
8:00 on Monday. I'll be there, and I won't be square.
But you have to be off any show on here before 7:45.
Because
or it won't
I got an earful when you were a minute late tonight.
Yeah,
I was trying to hold him.
Your ass was this close to never being on another show.
Yeah, you were. I mean, I saved you.
Hey, look, Dan showed us the size of his penis. Do that again, Dan.
All right. People are thinking we're idiots.
We're not, because our listeners have picked up since we basically stopped talking about college basketball.
Did you ever see Blazing Saddles, Dan?
No, it's not anywhere that I can get
HBO Max. Have your mom order HBO Max. Just have her do just have her do the free previews, free sign up, and then you can watch it.
Mike, you know what I watched? You know what I watched the other day?
What'd you watch?
The Monty Stratton story.
I remember that, the baseball player.
Yeah, who shot his leg off.
Yeah.
And then went out and pitched a baseball game with a artificial leg.
Yeah.
And won.
Was that back in the 40s or 50s?
Yeah, sometime back there, yeah.
All right. I would ask Dad if he's ever heard of Monty Stratton, but he hasn't. Have you ever heard of Joe Jackson, the baseball player from the White Sox? Shoeless Joe Jackson. You've never heard of
Shoeless Joe from Hannibal Mo?
Yeah.
You've never heard of Shoeless Joe from Hannibal Mo?
Actually, it's funny you bring him up because me and my buddies were talking about the White Sox because the Yankees are getting investigated for cheating, and we were talking about that. And then I forgot how we brought it up. Oh, my buddy was like, "Oh yeah, baseball is built on cheating. They've been cheating since the beginning." So I was like, "Oh, you mean Shoeless Joe Jackson?" And then Bob was like, "Nah, he got a bad rap. Everybody else was cheating. Shoeless Joe just got a bad rap."
Oh yeah, whatever. All I know is he took
every penny of the money.
Took the money.
He took every penny of the money.
And everybody says, well, he was illiterate. Well, that's got to do with reading and writing, not just taking money.
He could count, obviously.
He may have tried, but he took the damn money. So,
yeah. No, I'm not buying that crap at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But also the 1918 World Series, a lot of people thought was fixed. Also 1914. I would say probably most of all Major League Baseball was fixed before 1912.
Well, that's because Arnold Rothstein got his hands in it.
No, it was well before Arnold Rothstein. It was because the players weren't making much money back then.
Well, I see here Rothstein was in the fix on the Red Sox.
But that was 1919. There was fixes. Hell, before the turn of the century, people were bitching how baseball was fixed.
Well, hell, they were playing and paying them, what, $2 a game?
Yeah, but that was good money back then. Hell, people were making $2 a week back then.
I mean, when you watch the beginning of the Monty Stratton story, he's playing for some factory team and gets $3 for every time he pitches. That's it.
Well, I just want to pitch a lot. But it also costs like 5 cents for milk and 15 cents for ribeye.
People had their own cows.
Go ahead, Dan. That makes it even easier.
I can actually watch. I can watch the Stratton story. It's on Amazon Prime, and I have Go me.
There you go. All right, so you're going to watch it and report back to us Monday at 8 o'clock on the NFL show.
You know who the star of it was, Mike?
Of the what? The Monty Stratton story?
Yeah.
Yes, Monty I do. Monty Stratton.
He was the characterization of who they were portraying. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, it was Jimmy Stewart.
Was it
And June Allison.
Jimmy Stewart?
Jimmy Stewart to you.
All right, I think we're done now. And all these people, nobody's going anywhere, so we're gonna wrap it up.
They're not getting off the air.
No, I mean,
Come on,
there's
people.
here,
Don't you have
here,
something
here.
better to do?
Yeah, come on. Steve,
Golly.
Steve, you can
Hey,
sing a
I got to
song.
give a shout out to anybody that's listening. How about the Indiana University women's basketball team?
Yeah, they got to play UConn now, though, Steve.
So they beat them earlier.
They did?
Yep.
Yeah. This is the thing. I wrote the article today about the top 10 college basketball coaches of all time, and there's really people busting my balls because Gino Auriemma should be number one. He's a women's basketball coach. I'm not ripping women's basketball, but it's not the same as men's. And also, this is the thing. Gino Auriemma, to me, is kind of like John Wooden was back in the day. There's not a whole lot of competition there. You know, you only got a few schools you really have to beat because you blow everybody out. The thing about Auriemma is this. Now the NCAA women's tournament is a lot more competitive. You get a lot more upsets. And in the last few years, all of a sudden, with more competition, Gino ain't winning everything anymore.
Yep, that's exactly right. And it's on ESPN and not True TV. So
Everything's on True TV.
Oh, actually, since we're talking about the UConn women, I'm going to have to give a shout out to Aubrey Griffin. She at school, Ossining High School. So shout out to OHS. Shout out to Aubrey.
How long ago? Oh.
Was she there when you were there?
No, come on.
Dan's not that young.
Yeah, I wish.
No.
Why? You think? Never mind. All right, guys.
Mike, who was the women's coach at Tennessee? Pat
Head Summit.
Pat Summit.
She was the greatest female coach of all time.
Yeah, I hope you put her in the top 10.
I did not, Steve, because it's freaking college. The top 10 college coaches of all time cannot have a woman on it as of now. Now, someday they may be able to, but I'm sorry. It's different. It's like boys high school basketball and boys junior high basketball. Actually, it's probably more like boys high school or boys college basketball and third and fourth grade basketball. It's not the same thing. This is the thing. If you watch women's college basketball now, women's college basketball today is at the same point probably the men's game was in the 1950s. I mean, skill level wise. You know, they can shoot, you know, whatever. A little bit they could shoot. And I think basketball is basically stupid now compared to what it used to be because the ball's smaller. You know, the NBA, Steph Curry can nail 23s a game because the ball is a lot smaller than it was when Larry and Michael and Magic played. Do you know that, Dan?
I remember hearing something about that, yeah.
And the three-point line is closer. And the three-point line is closer now than what it was, too, by a foot or two.
See, Dan, that's why if you grow up in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, you try and move out by the time you're 12.
Why's that?
If you live there, you get that kind of attitude in life.
I didn't live in Lawrenceburg, but
well, wherever.
I'm from Aurora, the same place that lived your dreams as a high school basketball star.
Okay, yes, they did. And I'm not,
Tim Johnson.
I'm not ashamed to be a part of that game.
Well, you can't be because
it
they
was
bring it up all the time.
Classic college basketball or high school basketball.
I think you're fine with it now just because I've beaten it into you so much. You just kind of ignore it when I bring it up.
Yeah, you made me rethink it and relive it. I give you credit for that, Mike. You're definitely right.
All right. Now people are stopping to listen. All right. Dan Kornhauser, tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter.
At DB Talking Sports. D as in Dan, B as in Bob.
Douches in D, B as in bag. Douchebag Sports. Steve, at Steve Risley, or at S Risley 34. We will be back Monday night at 8 o'clock with the NFL show. I want to highly recommend you guys, if you like auto racing, go watch the NASCAR show because we have three guys that know what they're talking about. Here, we've got two, and then we've got Dan. So on the NASCAR show, all three guys know what they're talking about. I took a shot at Dan. I'm sorry.
All right. That's all right.
I said you knew what you were talking about, though.
What?
I did say you knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, you did. Dan, I'll call you as soon as we hang up.
Thanks,
you shouldn't call him. All I ain't calling either one of you. I got shit to do. All right, guys.
You gotta go take a shit. That's what you gotta do.
I've just been farting a lot lately. I got gas. I mean, they told me I
Come
had some
on.
roll. They said I had some roll
Time
of
to sign
gallbladder,
off.
and I had to eat more fiber. All right, real quick before we sign off, remember Caesar Sportsbook. Click the link in the description below. And betting.net. Betting.net compares the best online casinos. Sit back, relax, and play the top online slots, poker, and table games. All right, guys. For Steve Risley, Dan Kornhauser, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth